The Scar in the Dust, HFY Sci-Fi, simple English, third person, approximately 800 words. Wind was soft over the red sands of T-Rev-9. A group of alien researchers walked slowly across the desert. Their boots crunched on the dry ground. They had come to study old ruins. No cities, no plants, no humans. But what they found changed everything. Vera, a young alien historian with bright green skin and silver eyes, stopped first. There, she whispered, pointing toward a dark shape near the rocks. Something is sitting. The others raised their scanners. No signal, no heat, but the shape moved. They walked closer, carefully. Blasters ready. It was a man, a human man. He was sitting alone on a stone, his head down, a long black cloak over his body. His face was hidden in the shadow of his hood. Is he dead? One of the guards asked. No, Vera said. He's breathing. She stepped forward slowly. Sir, are you from Earth? She asked, her voice polite. The man didn't answer. He stood up. He was tall, strong. His armor was old and covered in dust. A thick scarf hung around his neck. As the wind blew, it pulled the scarf aside just for a second. Vera gasped and stumbled back. Her eyes locked on the side of his face. There, across his cheek and eye, was a deep black scar burned in a strange shape. Vera's hands shook. She whispered, "That can't be real." The man looked at her, calm and silent. "You've seen it before?" he asked. Vera nodded slowly. "Yes, in the archives. In a warning file. They said that Scar belonged only to the ancient hunters, the humans who fought in the First Galactic War." He stayed quiet. "But that was 2,000 years ago," she said. "You can't be one of them. They're extinct." The man pulled his scarf back over the scar and turned away. "I'm not dead," he said. "I just woke up." Back at the alien base, Vera studied her recording of him. The symbol of the scar was burned deep, not just a wound, but a mark. She checked her data files. The scar matched one known pattern. Hunter-class human, black tier. These weren't normal soldiers. These were the kind of humans that made enemies run, but the records didn't talk much about them. In fact, most of the files were missing or locked. Vira frowned. Why would they erase history? That night, the man stayed outside the base. He didn't speak much. He sat near the flames, staring into the sand like he was waiting for something. Vera brought him water. "What's your name?" she asked. He looked at her with cold, gray eyes. "Kale. Where were you all this time?" she asked. Kale didn't answer. Instead, he said something strange. "When the scar returns, the hunt begins again." Vera didn't understand. Hunt? What hunt? Kale looked into the stars. "They made us. Then they feared us. So they buried us." The next morning, something happened. A group of alien soldiers came to the base. Not friendly. They said they were from the Preservers, a secret galactic council. "We're here to collect the human." The commander said. Vira stood in front of them. "He's done nothing wrong." The soldier sneered. "That scar isn't just a mark. It's a signal. If it glows again, it could wake the others." Vera was confused. "What others?" The commander pointed to Kale, who stood quietly behind her. "Your kind were born to fight, not to live in peace. You are weapons, and weapons must stay buried." The soldiers stepped forward to take him. Kale didn't move. He let one of them hit him in the chest. The soldier laughed. "See? The great hunters are dead inside." But then Kale looked up. His eyes burned red. The soldier took a step back, confused. Kale grabbed his arm and bent it with no effort. The others raised their weapons, but Kale was already moving. Fast. He didn't kill. He didn't run. He simply stepped into their circle, took their weapons apart like toys, and handed them back. "I'm not your enemy," Kale said. "Not yet." That night, Vera couldn't sleep. She watched the fire again. Kale sat as before. She sat beside him and asked, "Why did you let them hit you?" "To test them," he said. "To see how much the galaxy has forgotten." Vera looked at him carefully. "And? What did you learn?" Kale stared into the flames. "That when the others see this scar again, they'll start to panic." Vera returned to the city the next day. She didn't tell Kale. Not yet, Dot. She had questions. Big ones, Dot. Why did the scar scare even the soldiers? Why did her people hide the records? And most of all, what did the galaxy do to the humans to make sure they never came back? She entered the Grand Archive, a tower of blue glass and light, filled with history from every known world. The archive claimed to store everything, every war, every peace treaty, every extinction. Vera walked past alien statues and giant screens. She went to the restricted zone and scanned her code. "Access granted." Historian TIER She typed, "Human hunter class, scar pattern, black tier." Only one result appeared. A file from 2,000 years ago. Title, Termination Protocol, Flame Signal Species. But when she opened it, red screen. "This file has been sealed by Galactic Authority, Level 9. Request access from Preservation Council." Vera frowned. Even her mentor didn't have Level 9 clearance. Why hide history? She whispered Dot. She tried another search. Ancient. Human warriors. Galactic War 1. Human frontlines. Kale of Earth. Cryo signatures. All locked. All red. Only one open file popped up. A video. A short one. She clicked play. An alien general stood in the ruins of a broken city. His voice shook. "The scar-bearers fight like they're already dead. They feel no fear. They don't ask for peace. They don't follow orders. They only stop when there's nothing left to destroy. We called them heroes, before we realized what they truly were. If they ever return, let fire be our final warning." Then static. Vera leaned back. Her hands were shaking. The galaxy didn't defeat the hunters. It erased them. As she left the archive, someone followed her. She heard soft steps behind her through the quiet halls. She turned, but saw no one. Suddenly, a message popped on her wrist comb. "Stop digging, or the next scar you see will be your own." Her blood ran cold. Back on Karev 9. Kale waited outside the research outpost. He stood at the edge of a cliff, watching the stars rise. When Vera returned, her face was pale. "They erased you," she said quietly. Kale didn't turn. "I know." "Why?" she asked. "They feared what they created." He finally turned to face her. "They needed us when the Mind Choir invaded the first time. Humans were still wild, still angry. They trained us, sent us to the front. Let us break the enemy. And when the war ended?" Kale's eyes hardened. "They tried to wipe us out. The very ones we protected." Vera couldn't speak. Kale walked past her, slowly. "They called us flame signal species, not because we destroyed, but because we made others burn." Later that night, Kale stood by the fire again. He took off his scarf. The scar glowed, faint red. He touched it gently. Suddenly, a flash of pain hit his head. He saw visions, screams, ships burning, soldiers running, and a symbol burning into his skin. His knees hit the ground. Inside the base, alarms beeped. A signal. Not local. Coming from deep space. Not human. Not alien. Not known. Vera checked the screen. Her heart stopped. It showed a map. Then a word in ancient galactic script. Awakened. Then Kale's scar burned brighter, and from far across the stars, something answered. Kale sat alone in the ship bay. His hands were shaking. The scar on his face was glowing brighter now. Not just red, but faint blue at the edges, like something inside him was waking up. His eyes stared at nothing. He wasn't on Curve 9 anymore, dot in his mind. He was falling through memories, not dreams. Locked history. He saw himself as a soldier, wearing black armor, fire behind him, marching with others just like him. He heard voices screaming, then commands. Send the black tier, no survivors. Burn the choir, take no prisoners. The memories twisted. His own voice cried out, Stop, we've won. There's nothing left. But the scar kept burning. The war didn't stop, and neither did the hunters. Cale woke with a gasp. Vera was there, holding his shoulders. What did you see? He was pale. Too much. You remember now? He nodded slowly. The scar. It's not just a mark. It's a key. They branded it into us not to show rank, but to control us. To unlock our instincts when war begins. Vera sat beside him. So you're a weapon. Cale smiled bitterly. No, I'm a mistake they tried to hide. Suddenly, the console beeped. A transmission had arrived, but it wasn't from Earth, or any known system. The message repeated in 3 words. You are found. Cale stood. They're coming. Who? Vera asked. The ones who made the scars. He opened a hidden compartment in the ship. Inside was a small black cube holder than anything Vera had seen. What is that? Cale looked at her. A memory core. Forbidden's tech. It holds the truth. Names. Coordinates. Why they tried. To end us. He placed it on the table. The cube blinked once, then spoke in an ancient, rough voice. Lactier code verified. Initiating hunt recall protocol. Suddenly, a hologram appeared above the cube. It showed Earth, but not the Earth they knew. Earth. In flames. Fighting something massive in the skies, like a cloud with voices. Cale explained. That was the mind choir. They don't fight with ships. They fight with thought, with fear, with dreams. They infect. He pointed to the image of the burning planet. We stopped them once. Barely. But they're not gone. And now, the scar has told them. He looked at his reflection. I'm awake. Vera's voice trembled. Why are they afraid of you? Cale looked at her. They created monsters to fight monsters. But monsters remember, even after sleep. At that moment, the ground trembled. A ship landed outside the base, but it wasn't a galactic patrol. That was a hunting vessel. Made from bones, old metal, and human tech blended together. The door opened. 3 figures stepped out. Each one wore a black cloak. Each one had a scar, just like Cale's. But theirs glowed blue. Vera backed away. Are they like you? Cale stared. No, they're what happens when the scar wins. The lead figure removed his hood. His eyes were completely white. Brother, he said, you broke silence. Cale stepped forward. I broke free. The figure smiled. Then you must burn. Like the rest. The 3 cloaked hunters stepped into the base. Their boots were silent on the metal floor. Each one carried a strange weapon, part sword, part tool, the kind that could tear through bone and armor alike. Cale stood between them and Vera. His own scar still glowed red. Theirs glowed blue, cold, bright, and alive. The lead one stepped forward. His voice echoed with something inhuman beneath it. Cale, you are not supposed to wake. I didn't plan to, Cale said. You were locked for a reason. Cale's fists clenched. We were all locked, used, then thrown away. The lead hunter lifted his hood fully. His face was pale. Scar stretched from his chin to his eye, glowing bright blue. But his skin, it looked burned, like he'd been through fire and never healed. We burned for the cause, the hunter said. Now we burn for the choir. Vera's eyes widened. You joined them? She whispered. The hunter turned to her. We didn't join. We survived. You forget who created us. Kale moved first. He rushed forward, spear in hand. The other two hunters blocked him with unnatural speed. Metal crashed. Sparks flew. Kale swung low, missed by inches. They struck back, his armor cracked. Kale didn't stop. His red scar glowed hotter with every hit. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Vera ran to the control room. She didn't know how to fight, but she knew how to help. She opened the emergency system. Power surge grid. She tapped into Kale's biosignal. His scar had sensed with the ship's core. Please hold on. She whispered. Back on the floor. Kale took a blade to the shoulder. He dropped to one knee. The lead hunter raised his weapon. And this, he said, you're still one of us. Kale looked up. Double quotes. No, I'm what's left of humanity's soul. You're just the echo. And then his scar flared white. Energy shot out in a wave. The other two hunters were thrown back, slamming into the wall. The lead one staggered. What did you do? He gasped. Kale stood tall, blood on his mouth, his eyes bright. I remembered who I am. From behind him, Vera spoke. You linked with the ship. It's running on your scar now. You're the battery. Kale nodded. I don't need to win. I just need to wake the rest. He slammed his palm to the console. A signal burst into space. Across the stars. In hidden ruins. In forgotten bunkers. Other scars began to glow. In deep cryochambers. Eyes opened. Humans long thought extinct stirred again. The hunters weren't gone. They were just waiting. Back on Curve 9, the lead blue-scarred hunter growled. You've doomed everything. Kale looked him in the eye. No, I've just reminded them that we remember. He drove the spear into the ground. The base exploded in light. Later, smoke drifted over the ruins. Kale lay on the ground, breathing hard. His scar was dark, now burned. Out. Vera helped him sit up. You won, she said softly. No, Kale whispered. We started something bigger. In the sky above, a new signal blinked. Not from the enemy, but from Earth. They had received the call, and they were answering. Across the stars, something had changed. The scar signal from Kale's body had traveled faster than light. It didn't just call humans. It woke them. In a sealed vault under Mars. A siren began to ring. Steel pods cracked open one by one. Inside them were men and women in black armor, each with the same scar across their face. Their eyes snapped open. They said no words. They simply stood and listened, because they heard Kale's call. On Earth, panic grew. Governments picked up strange activity hunter signals. Long thought extinct. Old generals whispered the name Black Tear. Again for the first time in centuries. Some were afraid. Some were angry. But a few smiled because they remembered. And they were ready. Back on Karev 9, Kale and Vera walked through the quiet remains of the destroyed base. The sky was still filled with smoke. Kale's armor was cracked. His scar, dark now. Vera helped him walk. You started something, she said softly. Kale nodded. It's not war yet, but it will be. They reached a hidden bunker, the last place the preservers wouldn't look. Inside, Kale found what he needed. A long-range transmitter, hunter armor blueprints, a star map pointing to Earth. Looked at Vera. You've seen the truth. They lied to your people. They erased ours. Now they'll come to finish it. Vera looked down. I can't. Go back. If they find me with you. Kale raised an eyebrow. You're not going back. She looked up at him, surprised. You're coming forward. Meanwhile, far away, in a part of the galaxy no human had ever reached. They stirred. The mind choir, not bodies, not machines, but intelligent thought shaped into energy and sound. They had no ships, no mouths, no mercy. They had only one desire: silence the scar, silence the flame, silence the past. The choir felt the scar awaken. They screamed through the stars. Silent roar only the old tech could hear. They knew, Kale. And worse, they knew Earth was waking too. They began to move. Back in the human base. Kale activated the transmitter. A signal shot through the stars. Earth, this is Kale. Black Tear. The scar has returned. They're coming again. This time, we don't hide. We hunt. Hours later, a reply came. Crackling, broken, but real. This is Earth Command. Kale. They never forgot. And we've been building. Kale smiled. He turned to Vera. Now the second hunt begins. She looked scared, but also ready. Then let's give them something they didn't expect. As they left the bunker, the stars above shimmered. But this time, Kale wasn't alone. Across 5 systems, other hunters were stepping out of their cryopods. Some rusty, some scarred, but all of them ready. Choir had returned, but so had the flame. Sky over Earth was no longer calm. It glowed with warnings, red flashes from every defense satellite. Thousands of signals flooded in from the edges of human space. The mind choir had arrived, but this time, Earth was awake. Old bunkers deep beneath the planet, unlocked for the first time in 2,000 years. Hunter armor was pulled from black vaults. Pilots stood in silence, waiting for only one voice to give the command. And that voice was Kale's. In space. Kale stood on the deck of a rebuilt Hunter warship. It looked like a blade forged from fire-dark metal, ancient engines, red energy glowing in its heart. Vera stood beside him, wearing light scout armor adjusted for her species. Ready? She asked. Kale didn't answer. He just stared at the screen, at the cloud that was coming closer. The mind choir. They don't use weapons, Vera whispered. They use fear. They attack the mind. Kale nodded. They've already started. In the back of his mind, he heard it. You are lost. You are alone. You are forgotten. But he didn't flinch. Instead, he said quietly, I remember. Kale closed his eyes. The scar on his face glowed bright red, then white, then gold. The ship responded. So did the others. Across 5 systems, hunters connected their minds through the old network. They became one. The flame protocol was active. The battle began. The choir moved like smoke across space-disrupting signals, freezing pilots, whispering death into minds. But when it reached Kale's ship, it burned. The choir recoiled. What is this? Their voices echoed. This is not peace. This is not silence. Kale answered. No, this is memory. This is flame. He fired the first shot. It wasn't a missile. It was a data burst. Kale's memories, pain, rage, humanity's betrayal, Earth's survival. All of it into the choir. The creatures screamed. Not because they were harmed, but because they felt, and they couldn't handle it. Vera watched the stars light up. Ships burst into light. The choir's reach began to shrink across the galaxy. Other species received the same signal Kale had sent, and for the first time in generations, they didn't run from humans. They stood with them. On the final day, the choir's core mind appeared above the battlefield. Shape of glowing energy. It spoke through every speaker. This galaxy chose memory over silence. It chose fire over control. You will regret this. Kale walked to the command console. No, you'll regret waking us up. He pressed the final key. The scar on his face flashed once more, and a massive chain of cryovaults across space exploded into light. Thousands of hunters were now awake. The choir retreated. Silent. Broken. Weakened. They would return someday. But next time. The galaxy would be ready. Back on Earth, Kale removed his armor. He looked up at the sky, finally clear again. Vera stood beside him. "You're not just a weapon anymore," she said. Kale smiled. "No, I'm proof that memory survives even in dust." As he walked away, a new scar slowly faded into his skin, not burned, not forced, but chosen, the symbol of a human who remembered everything and still chose to protect. End.